Last year, you made a powerful statement saying the reason people are watching women's basketball is not just because of one player, but because of you too. A year later, do you feel like you're
Next question.
The reporter never got to finish his question, but he didn't need to. Angel Reese, in just 2 words, summed up the current state of the WNBA and its relationship with Caitlin Clark. And now, that relationship has taken a significant turn. Let me explain. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA has been undeniable. Millions of new fans, sold-out arenas, and record-breaking viewership. But what's equally undeniable is the league's collective mishandling of this golden opportunity. Instead of fully embracing the Caitlin Clark effect, many within the league pushed back. They questioned the hype, downplayed her influence, and worst of all, mocked her fans. They treated the Caitlin Clark effect as a threat rather than a gift. And to anyone watching from the outside, it made absolutely no sense.
But the WNBA last year, bless their hearts, finally got a star. And they didn't know that. They couldn't figure it out. Well, we don't want to put too much Caitlin Clark on. Nope, every game. More Caitlin Clark all the time, always. Caitlin Clark is easily the most influential athlete in a team sport since Michael Jordan.
The success, the mainstream breakthrough, the headlines, the hype, the packed arenas, it was everything the WNBA had dreamed of for decades. They finally had the moment, the player, the spotlight, the cultural breakthrough. They were on the verge of real revenue, respectable salaries, and global recognition. But the catch was that Caitlin Clark was the one leading the way. And for many WNBA players, this didn't feel like a celebration. It felt like a funeral. Because for some, Caitlin being the face of it all wasn't just an unexpected twist. It marked the end of a long-held dream. The dream that they would be the ones to collectively elevate the league. And perhaps the hardest truth to accept was this. After years of being told that fans simply didn't care about women's basketball, the fans did show up. They just showed up for Caitlin.
There's levels to this thing, and that's just life. We all went through it.
Yes, Diana Taurasi, there are. Much like dealing with a loss, we've seen players and media go through what looked like the stages of grief, denial, anger, and everything in between. Just wait until you see how it all comes together. It's wild. Up to this point, it's been messy, disappointing, and honestly a bad look for the WNBA. But now, something has shifted. A moment that would normally go unnoticed ended up changing everything. And now, the WNBA is fully aware of what's coming next, scrambling to position itself on the right side of history. Let's break down what happened. But first, like this video if you're ready to see the WNBA finally give in to Caitlin. And don't forget to subscribe.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
By this point last season, Caitlin Clark was already living rent-free in the minds of half the WNBA. She didn't just arrive, she exploded onto the scene, tripling viewership, selling out NBA arenas, and sending jersey sales through the roof. Every Indiana Fever game turned into a must-watch event, with fans lining up for hours and resellers charging playoff-level prices for regular season tickets.
Now, if we say her stats are today, what?
20 points, 8.4 assists, 6 rebounds.
That's crazy.
But 5
crazy.
The jealousy began long before Caitlin Clark ever laced up a pair of professional sneakers. The hype surrounding her was nothing short of generational. She had just broken the NCAA all-time scoring record across both men's and women's basketball. She carried Iowa to back-to-back national championship games, sold out every arena she played in, and drained logo threes as if they were simple layups. Then came the WNBA draft. There was no suspense, no surprises, just a coronation. She was the clear #1 pick. But more than that, she was the moment. The flashing cameras, the media frenzy, the sponsors lining up, it was all centered around her. And that's where things started to feel different, even uncomfortable. The league had seen great players before. Aja Wilson, Kelsey Plum, Breanna Stewart, true stars, MVPs, and champions. But none of them had entered the league with this level of hype. And for some, that stung. It marked the beginning of the first stage of grief, denial. This wasn't just skepticism, it was outright resistance. The old guard, players, media, even executives quickly moved to downplay the moment. You could see the tension, the cracks forming, even before she ever stepped onto the court.
Caitlin's coming. There's more than just that are coming. What will the league have in store for them when they get there?
Look, SVP, reality is coming.
If Caitlin Clark had entered the league and failed, or even performed at an average level, the old guard would have had their "I told you so" moment. The narrative would have written itself. College success is one thing, but the WNBA is an entirely different challenge. You don't just walk in and dominate the players who built this league. The hype would have faded, media attention would have shifted, and the veterans would have been proven right. But that's not what happened. Her debut drew 2.1 million viewers, the most watched WNBA game in over 2 decades. Every time she played, ratings surged, national broadcasts, sold out arenas, jerseys flying off the shelves. She wasn't just rising to the occasion, she was owning it, and that's when everything changed.
The voting last season. Clark, Kimmer. 3 Sky players coming over. Here's Clark for 29 points, gets tripped up.
For is good. Kennedy Carter now with 12 points off the bench.
Now that it was obvious Caitlin Clark's influence wasn't slowing down, no matter the eye rolls or media critiques thrown her way, the next move became damage control, not off the court but on it. The league, whether deliberately or not, began resisting between the lines. Players pushed limits, hard screens, off-ball hits, needless contact, and the referees, they kept their whistles tucked away. It turned into a recurring pattern. Let her absorb the hits, let her get frustrated, let her question her place. If the hype wouldn't fade naturally, they attempted to suppress it physically, and you could witness it in every game. It tested her. She was drained, battered, and mentally taxed, but Caitlin Clark persevered. She didn't break, she didn't fold, she grew stronger, literally, returning after the Olympic pause, playing the finest basketball of her career. We're talking MVP-level performances, guiding the Fever to victories, shattering the assist record, earning first-team All-Star honors, everything. And once she validated the hype, we moved into stage 3, bargaining. This is when people attempt to reconcile the new reality. They reason with themselves, with others, status, pride, control. Because honestly, what many players lost was their ego. Caitlin Clark arrived, dominated the league, and suddenly the focus shifted from veterans to her. So what happened next? They rewrote the narrative.
It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. So last night we read Time magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover?
The one thing that I cannot deny is the amount of little girls that were showing up to follow her. Little girls with their parents and the fervor and the energy there.
Why her?
Same thing.
Why her?
Well, but she was a white girl from the middle of America.
They knew better than to confront Caitlin Clark directly because that would have backfired. So instead, they targeted everything surrounding her. They criticized the fans. They pointed fingers at the media. In their eyes, Caitlin wasn't the issue. Everyone else was. She was receiving special treatment. Her supporters weren't real WNBA fans. If you admired Caitlin Clark, it had to be because of her skin color. Never mind that she led the league in assists as a rookie. Never mind that she drew record-breaking crowds and brought unprecedented attention to the game. None of that mattered because the narrative being pushed wasn't about her talent. It was about prejudice.
While Caitlin is fantastic and I think she's going to have an incredible career in the WNBA, there are women that were worthy of coverage prior to her arriving, and I just will not be silenced when it comes to that.
It's the classic propaganda strategy. Repeat the falsehood enough, project it loudly enough, and eventually people stop questioning it. And now a portion of the basketball world actually believes Caitlin Clark isn't skilled, that she's merely lucky. But if anyone thought the Caitlin Clark effect would fade because of this story, they were dead wrong. One by one, veterans began signing on to join the Indiana Fever. These weren't players scrambling for a spot or content to just be on a roster. These were accomplished champions. Dana Bonner, Natasha Howard, Sydney Colson, women with options, women with rings, and they all had the same goal, to play in Indiana, not merely because of the roster, not solely because of the coach, but because of Caitlin Clark. Not long ago, media voices like Cheryl Swoops painted Indiana as an undesirable destination. Diana Taurasi even referenced old rumors recently, yet that narrative fell apart. Indiana isn't just a destination, it's the ultimate destination, and with that, the floodgates opened.
And for the first time in history, WNBA games will be played in the United Center. The Chicago Sky will host the Indiana Fever at the UC on Saturday, June 7th and on Sunday, July 27th.
First, it started with the arena upgrades. Games were being rescheduled just for her. Not for league politics, not for playoff ramifications, not for all-star events, but for Caitlin Clark. Teams that usually played in smaller venues suddenly reserved NBA arenas because they had to. The demand wasn't optional. If Caitlin was visiting, more seats were necessary. Then came the broadcast schedule. Out of the Indiana Fever's 44 regular season contests, 41 would be nationally televised. That's not mere visibility. That's complete saturation. Networks weren't hedging their bets. They put everything on one player, wagering that the Caitlin Clark phenomenon was worth primetime slots almost every night. And then came the preseason matches. One exhibition game sold out a 15,000-seat arena. That's preseason. No standings, no playoff consequences, just Caitlin. And fans paid hundreds of dollars simply to watch her warm up.
And the average reported ticket price was $650. Now, if you do the math here and you do 15,000 people times $650, that is almost $9.75 million just for a WNBA preseason game.
By that point, the Caitlin Clark effect could no longer be ignored. It wasn't hype, it wasn't clever marketing, it was pure numbers, revenue, and momentum. For many players, reality hit differently differently. Their own squads were at the focus. Everything revolved around Caitlyn. Promotions spiked when the Fever came to town. Ticket sales surged only with her presence. The broadcasters understood it. The sponsors recognized it. The fans unquestionably felt it. And somewhere among the sold-out arenas, the advertising frenzy, and the shifting league dynamics, a realization emerged. Acceptance. And with that, the players began to speak.
Yes, have we ever had teams have to get into larger arenas to play against a team? No, we have not. So if we have more eyeballs on the game and Caitlin Clark brings that, why would we feel some kind of way because she has more television games? I think we have to understand that when one player eats, we all eat. And as we all get more opportunities, it just opens it up for everyone else.
Caitlin Clark a problem, bro.
Yeah, see that.
I just think about my rookie year and I think about how I came into the league and I'm like, bro, it was such a crazy transition for me to just understand what it's like to play at the pro level. And it's like this girl coming in as a rookie and going she broke the record for assists. I don't think people really understand how crazy that is to do as a rookie, your first year doing this. But that's another episode. Shout out to Caitlin, bro.
The plays that she was making still, despite all that, was insane. But people were so caught up in the logo threes and the 23-point attempts per game, which absolutely I understand that. It was so much fun to watch. But I always said she could potentially be one of the best point guards to ever play in the WNBA.
Has the coverage been flawless? Naturally not. Snubs remain, double standards persist, and plenty of voices are quicker to critique than to praise. Yet gradually, unmistakably, the narrative has shifted. Those same media outlets that once scrutinized her every move are now highlighting her leadership, dedication, and overall impact. The players who once seemed doubtful, some of them, are beginning to give real acknowledgement. Not just that she's talented, but that she's transforming the game. And that leads us to the defining moment, the one that confirmed it all, Caitlin Clark's return home.
The fans filed outside in droves, getting ready at Carver Hawkeye Arena, and watch parties all around Iowa City. Everybody wants to catch a glimpse of Iowa's favorite daughter, Caitlin Clark, returning home.
Over 1.3 million viewers tuned in to watch that exhibition game on television. And it wasn't only the turnout. It wasn't merely the sold-out arena. It was the context, the comparison. That figure didn't just lead the WNBA preseason. It surpassed viewership from other professional leagues. But it wasn't solely about the audience at home. It was how Caitlin performed, fully aware of their eyes on her. She didn't shrink from the spotlight. She thrived under it. She understood exactly what the fans had come to witness.
Possessions of the day for Brazil. Here's Clark. Wow! You bet! From beyond the logo!
With every eye on her, Caitlin sprinted up the court and drained a three-pointer from the exact spot where she set the NCAA scoring record. It wasn't merely a shot, it was a declaration. And the crowd, they absolutely erupted, because this had become more than basketball. It was spectacle, it was storytelling, theater, a full-circle moment executed with flawless timing. Caitlin understood her place, its significance, and precisely how to create a moment the audience would never forget.
I think one of the things I love about Caitlin the most is her understanding and willingness to meet the moment and do the thing that she knows everyone wants her to do.
She knows what the people
She broke the record making that shot to begin with. There's just a certain star quality and star power there. But it takes you being confident enough, willing enough to be oh, no. I know what you want. Come here. I'm going to give it to you. I loved it so much. I just think it's great. I love when athletes have that, bring the cameras right over here.
Well,
it's so fun.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. She knows it.
And when it came to giving fans exactly what they wanted, even the Brazilian national team couldn't resist. After the exhibition game, they didn't simply shake hands and leave. They swarmed Caitlin, laughing, smiling, taking selfies as if they'd just met Michael Jordan. Because in their minds, that's exactly who she was.
Yeah, it is clear that she is having her freaking Michael Jordan moment
right now.
This was the moment. The sold-out arena, the 1.3 million viewers, the opponents crowding her for autographs after the final buzzer. We live in a world of sound bites and snapshots, where perception often speaks louder than proof. And now, the visuals match the reality. Everyone already knew the numbers. Everyone saw the broadcast schedule, the arena upgrades, the merchandise sales, the media buzz. But this was different. This was the moment the illusion shattered. The illusion that this was about anyone else.
1.3 million people watched it on ESPN. 1.3 million people. Let me put that in perspective, just between us. No NBA preseason game has had that audience in the last 7 years. Only 2 preseason games in the NBA have had that audience in the last 15 years. More people watched this preseason game than game 1 of last year's WNBA finals. No MLB spring training game has ever come close. The most is when 912,000 people watched the Yankees-Phillies, and that was 20 years ago. 1.3 million people watched Caitlin Clark.
And just like that, everything about the game shifted.
The favorite to win MVP, should she be?
Yeah, I think so. When you talk about Caitlin Clark, she averaged 19 points, 8 assists. I love that you're counting for me. I need you to count out loud. 19 points, 8 assists last season, but had an even better finish to the season after the All-Star break, after the Olympic break. She lit it up. What did she average? 12 assists during that time? She now has more pieces around her, more teammates she can get the ball to, and she had a full off season.
It is a balance, but she's a generational talent. No league's ever about one player, but in this case, Caitlin brought tens of millions of new viewers into the W, and there's no denying that impact. Not just in the WNBA, but the world of sports. Adam and I talk all the time about like, she's the most popular athlete in America, you know.
Players, media, analysts, all of them suddenly acting far more pro Caitlin Clark than they were just weeks before. Why? Because after the preseason spectacle, the sellouts, the ratings, the energy she carried into every arena, there was no longer any question.
Like this season, people are trying to get on the right side of history after kind of being weird the first year. So I can see like the narrative is already kind of, they're waiting for her to produce so that they can say like they were right.
Start the offseason when everything clicks. Caitlin Clark wasn't just riding the fame wave, she was outworking everyone else. While most players eased into the offseason, Caitlin was hopping between high-profile events, speaking engagements, NFL owner meetings, the Masters, and still hitting the gym at 8 o'clock a.m. the next morning. Every single time. No excuses, no skips, no burnout. That's not just discipline. That's legendary effort straight from the Kobe Bryant playbook.
Whatever you want to call Mamba mentality. Whatever you define as Mamba mentality, there's no question about it that Caitlin Clark has it.
Caitlin Clark is bigger, stronger, and fully ready to dominate. Her body is engineered for the professional grind. Her decision-making is sharper, and her confidence under pressure has only grown. She's no longer just adjusting to the WNBA. She's preparing to take control. And the skeptics, some are trying to stay ahead of the narrative by complimenting Caitlin, while others recognize the truth in silence. Next question, the grief of not being the star. That's what this really comes down to. It affects every player differently. Some show frustration, others go quiet. A few, like Sophie Cunningham, have accepted it from the beginning. But however it looks, the moment is here. The proof is undeniable. The magnitude is staggering. That preseason game in Iowa wasn't just hype. It marked the rebirth of the Caitlin Clark effect. And this time, it will be bigger than ever.